Welcome to TV-free Baltimore's Celebrity Interviews. In this episode, we interview Kathy Garver.
I was doing the Ten Commandments, and I had just been hired as an extra from my new agent, who was Hazel McMillan, the mother of Gloria McMillan from Our Miss Brooks. And actually, that was my first TV show, was Our Miss Brooks. And so when I went on the Ten Commandments, I was to be with the hordes of people, and all of a sudden, I hear this voice call out, "Don't let that little girl's face get in the camera." And I said, "Who is that? Is that God? We are doing the Ten Commandments." Turned out it wasn't God, but a cinematic deity called Cecil B. DeMille, who wrote extra scenes into the movie with me, with Charlton Heston. And I don't know when this is going to air, but in 2016, it was the 60th anniversary of Family Affair. I actually ponder sometime to see how I could have been a part of that. I must have been a spark in somebody's eyes. I wasn't really born yet, but anyway, there it is. And you have to admit it, because you're on film, and so you can't lie too well about your age.
Right, you said you did have lines in the movie.
Oh yes, I did. I'm a little girl called Rachel, the slave girl, and it starts right at the beginning of the Exodus, and I'm on these stone steps, and I'm coming down the steps, and I said, "Grandfather, do you have the pumpkin?" And then I say, "Where's Rebecca?" And then this disembodied hand comes out and said, "Here's Rebecca." And I said, "Thank you." And so I'm walking down. I go over to where we're all getting water to go on our trek. Then fast forward to the closing of the Red Sea, and Charlton Heston comes up to me on a paper mache mountain, and he says, "Are you afraid?" And I said, "No, but Rebecca is." So then plucks me off the mountain, all the water comes down, and that's my Ten Commandments debut. I did all the shows at the time, Sheriff of Cochise and Jim Bowie, and all the ones in the 50s and the 60s. And then my family moved to San Bernardino, which is about an hour from Los Angeles, and I did a few things, but it gave me the opportunity, and again, I talk about that in my Ex-Child Star book, where so many of these kids have a lot of difficulty from like 14 to 18 making that transition. I was out of the city and out of Hollywood, so I was able to have more or less and mostly more normal transition period. And so then when I came back and started UCLA, I started working again and started doing guest star parts, and then that's when I got the part in Family Affair. So it was a very nice series, and we all got along well. I remember the off the scene are my fondest memories, because when you're doing something, you're engaged in the scene and you're in the character. But I remember, unfortunately, when Robert Kennedy died, and I was very distraught, and Brian comforted me. I remember Anissa coming over to my house for a sleepover, and so I remember going to Sebastian's house, and he cooked dinner for everyone. So those are the kind of memories I have of that. After Family Affair, I went to London. Well, actually, before that, I went to Israel to do an Israeli stage version of Family Affair called Hamishpaka Shekazot. And I'm learning Hebrew, for this stage presentation, which was fine with me. But while I was there, I just stayed in London and went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. And when I came back to the States, I started touring the United States doing plays. And I did plays for, a while. And then I started my voiceover career, and I've done like 5 animated series, Firestar in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, with Iceman and Spider-Man, and I was Firestar. So, and I've done like 70 audiobooks, and then I started doing plays and guest spots and movies. Then I started producing movies, and my wonderful literary agent, who is here with me in Maryland, I first wrote the book the Family Affair cookbook. That was my first book.
Right.
And every time that food was mentioned on the series, I wrote about that and have the recipes. And then I wrote my memoir, which is Surviving Sissy, and that came out in 2015. And this is currently being reprinted because it sold out and got great stars on Amazon. And then this is my latest one that came out in May, and that's Ex-Child Stars. And the foreword is by Paul Peterson, who has a wonderful nonprofit organization called A Minor Consideration. And I have a new movie coming out called Unleashed with Sean Astin, and Patty Duke had actually written the foreword to my Surviving Sissy book, and she passed on the same month that this book came out, and she was a good friend. And I'm starting a new show in Palm Springs. I have a star in the Walk of Stars there. So it's called Star Watch, and I will be interviewing the stars who have stars. My first two are Lindsay Wagner from The Bionic Woman and Gavin MacLeod, who was on Mary Tyler Moore Show and The Love Boat.
Right.
All of those.
He'll hear you.
Yes, I know. Bernie Capel is here. Dear Bernie, I love Bernie, who was Doc on The Love Boat.
Right.
So I'm doing that, and I teach voiceover and audiobook, and I'm a busy person, and I love this new idea and live streaming, and I think that is very cool. More information to our populace out there. My website is www.kathygarver, KathyGarver.com. You can like me on Facebook. You can tweet to me at Kathy_Garver, and I'm still trying to conquer Instagram, but one of these days.
Okay, great.
You've been watching Celebrity Interviews on TV Free Baltimore.